Good morning. Welcome to Indie Games December Day 27. Today we're going to look at, one more time, we're not going to look at an actual game. We're going to look at something that I support on Patreon called More Seats at the Table. This first came to my attention. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Kimberly Lamb, who is one of the creators behind this, and they told me about it, and I was, I had never heard of it before, and I was absolutely fascinated, and it was definitely something I wanted to support, and so I support them on Patreon. I get their bi-weekly newsletter, and I think you should too. Why is this important? And who should subscribe? More Seats at the Table came out of a conversation between Kira and Ash about their frustrations with the perception that games by and about not men are perceived as only being for not men. The same, of course, is true along other axes of marginalization, i.e. games by persons of color are perceived as being for persons of color, etc. This poses a huge barrier to marginalized creators, because while there are some gaming communities that have succeeded in attracting diverse groups of participants, the majority of games purchases are still being made by cishet men. Additionally, even when you clear that first hurdle, getting cishet men to want to play games by and about people who don't look like them, what we hear over and over again is that men don't know where to go to find games by marginalized creators that reflect their interests. Because a thing that has happened over time is that many men have curated gaming social media circles that are mostly men, most of whom have done the same thing, so projects by marginalized folks just don't end up being on their radar. So, not only is that an excellent reason for you to support them on Patreon and get this newsletter, raises an excellent point about the gaming community, the gaming hobby community, and the gaming industry as a whole, and that is a whole nother video that we could record to to start unraveling that snarl of yarn. But yeah, I highly encourage you to get to support this and to get the newsletter sent to you. There is some fantastic work that is being done by not men in the community, and as someone who has been around for in the gaming community for 40 years now, I can also tell you that there has been a lot of fantastic work by not men going on right from the beginning of the hobby, despite what the names on all of the most popular games out there will tell you. Not men have been involved in this hobby right from the very beginning. They've been instrumental in developing it. They've produced some of the best work to come out throughout the history of the hobby. And honestly, it's about damn time that they start getting that recognition and start getting the focus put more back on them. I've said this before in other places. I am, a white male in the tabletop gaming hobby. There has never been a game published that I haven't seen myself in. I should say there's never been a mainstream game published that I haven't seen myself in. D&D is an obvious example, but pick any other sort of major published game out there. Call of Cthulhu, Shadowrun, any of them. I have never not seen myself in a game. I have never not been supported in the tabletop role-playing hobby and industry. In fact, for most of the industry's existence, I have been pretty much catered to, primarily. So it is beyond time for us to sort of wake up and figure out that, there have been other creators marginalized all throughout the hobby's existence. And they're putting out some amazing stuff. And, you just have to sort of like go and look for it and support it. And this is one way to do that. So I promise you at some point we will do a video or a whole series of videos on intersectionality and marginalization in the tabletop gaming industry, and those will be videos that I will curate. I'm not going to talk on that subject because I don't feel it's a subject that I should be the primary voice on, but I want to make sure those conversations happen, so that's something that's in the works. Anyway, more seats at the table. Highly recommend supporting it. I will have the link to their Patreon. You can get in there and just show them some support and get a fantastic resource that will show you the sort of the wider world of games being created by not men. This has been Indie Games December Day 27. I will look forward to talking to you on Day 28. Take care.